All right, and you're ready to go.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the March 18th, 2021 board meeting. I am Greg Lippy, President of the board. Before we convene, I advise all individuals observing or participating in the meeting that the meeting is being conducted consistent with the provisions of Governor Gavin Newsom's Executive Order N-2920. Participants watching the webcast will only be able to observe the meeting. Anyone interested in participating in the meeting must join the WebEx meeting. Information and instructions are posted on the board's website. All public phone lines are currently on mute. I will announce when we are accepting public comment on the various issues, and the moderator will open the lines. I have advised the moderator to allot 2 minutes to each individual providing comments. This approach is necessary to facilitate this meeting and ensure the board has the opportunity to complete its necessary business, including consideration of petitions as included on the meeting agenda. I appreciate everyone's understanding and patience as we navigate this meeting format. Before we get started, I will ask the moderator to provide general instructions. Moderator, please provide those instructions. Moderator.
I apologize. I was trying to unmute myself. All right, this is the moderator, and thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you.
All right, thank you all for joining the pharmacy board meeting. Before we get started, I would like to remind board members and staff who are not speaking to please mute their microphones. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will provide a brief friendly reminder or simply mute your microphone. There are members of the public in audience and meeting minutes are being taken, so I please ask that board members and staff identify themselves before speaking. To facilitate public comment today, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the board president reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, public comment will be requested. At the board's direction, I will turn on and announce the opening of the Q&A feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by clicking on the icon with a question mark within a square located at the bottom right-hand corner of the WebEx screen. Those instructions will be shared on the screen each time for your reference. In the Ask field, typically in the lower right-hand corner of your WebEx screen, members of the public who wish to make a public comment will type, "I would like to make a public comment," and send to all panelists. Any other communication will not be responded to. Members of the public, it's not necessary to identify yourself in order to make a public comment. I will take comments in the order that they are received, and I will call on that member of the public to unmute their microphone. They will be then given 2 minutes to make their comments, and I will provide a 10-second time warning. At the conclusion, their microphone will be muted, and we will move on to our next individual who has requested public comment. Please note that the Q&A feature is being used only as a means for members of the public to represent they would like to make a verbal comment. Once they are unmuted, that member of the public may verbally state their comment. This is not a means to ask questions of the moderator or members of the board, and such inquiries submitted using this feature will not be answered. If any attendees are utilizing a profane name, they will not be called upon to prevent members of the public from being subjected to profane language. While you are free to express criticism or negative views, for the sake of members of the public participating on the call, please do not use profane language when making public comments to the board. If you do not have a microphone, please click that audio and video at the top of your screen and then select Switch Audio. If you need further assistance, please follow the How to Join DCA WebEx event guide that was provided with the board meeting link. And at this point, I will pass it back over to our board president.
Thank you, moderator. As indicated on the agenda, the board will convene in closed session after deliberating on all the open session items except adjournment. Due to technological limitations, adjournment will not be broadcast. Adjournment will immediately follow closed session, and there will be no other items of business discussed. I will now take a roll call to establish a quorum. Members, as I call your name, please remember to open your line before speaking. Debbie Veal.
Here.
Thank you. Cheryl Butler.
Here.
Thank you. Jason White.
Here.
Thank you. Ricardo Sanchez.
Here.
Thank you. Sung Oh.
Here.
Thank you. Shirley Kim.
Here.
Thank you. Albert Wong.
Here.
Thank you. Jig Patel.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, we've established our quorum, and now the board will entertain any
Mr.
public
President?
comments.
Maria
Yeah.
Serpa here also.
I'm sorry, Maria. Thank you. I had your name in front of me and I didn't call it. My apologies. Okay, with a quorum being established, the board will now entertain any public comments for items on the agenda. To facilitate this portion of the meeting, as I previously announced, the moderator will open the lines for individuals to provide public comment. As also mentioned by the moderator, you're not required to identify yourself, but you may do so. As we open the lines, I remind everyone that the board cannot take action on these items except to decide whether to place an item on a future agenda. Members, following review of the public comments for this agenda item, I will survey you to determine if any of you have a preference to place an item on the future agenda. Now it's time for public comments. Moderator, please open the line.
All right, this is the moderator, and at the direction of the board, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a comment on this agenda item, please click that icon with a question mark within a square located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. And it looks like we do have one individual who has requested public comment, individual identified as Daniel Martinez. Daniel, you'll be given 2 minutes to speak and a 10-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Good morning, board members. Danny Martinez with the California Pharmacists Association. I would like to request that the Enforcement Committee agendize the topic of methacobalamin at their April 29th hearing. At the last hearing on January 20th, it was while we were having this discussion on methacobalamin, it was noted during the meeting that there could be an opportunity for an interim hearing between that meeting and the April 29th meeting to further discussions on the issue of methacobalamin. However, with it being March 18th today and no interim meeting being announced, I would like to make sure that this discussion continues at the April 29th meeting. So I respectfully request that that item be agendized. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Okay, are there any other comments?
This is the moderator. It looks like at this time there are no further requests for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please. Members having received public comment, I will now take a roll call to ask if anyone would like to include an item on a future agenda.
Mr. President, can I begin?
Sure, please do. Maria?
As the chair of the Enforcement and Compounding Committee, the issue of API is an ongoing agenda item, so it will be discussed.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anybody else would like to say anything or place an item on the agenda for a future meeting? Okay, not hearing any. I'll move right along. Agenda item 3, adoption of board-approved regulation Title 16, California Code of Regulations, Section 1747, related to HIV pre-exposure and post-exposure prophylaxis. Members, the next item on the agenda for our consideration is possible adoption of the board's regulations related to HIV, PrEP, and PEP. As indicated in the meeting materials at the January 2020 board meeting, the board approved the regulation language to establish on a permanent basis the criteria for training programs that a pharmacist must complete prior to independently initiating or furnishing pre-exposure and post-exposure prophylaxis. The comment period for this regulation ended on March 15th. One comment was received during the comment period, and that comment indicated support for the board's regulation. At this time, I welcome comments from members on the regulation text. As part of your comments, I would also entertain a motion provided in the meeting materials as possible adoption language should you believe such action is appropriate. Okay, I will when I call your name, please remember to open your line before you begin speaking. Serpa. Maria?
Sorry, I'm on mute like the rest of the world. No additional comments.
No worries. Thank you. Okay, Debbie Veal.
Hi, Mr. President. I have no additional comments, and as such, I would actually like to propose that we adopt the regulatory language as noticed on January 29th, 2021, and make the motion, I guess I should say, to adopt the regulatory language as noticed on January 29th, 2021, and delegate to the executive officer the authority to make technical or non-substantive changes as may be required by the control agency to complete the rulemaking file.
Thank you, Debbie. Do I hear a second? Anybody want to just say it?
I can second it. This is Song.
Thank you. Thank you, Sung. Okay, second by Sung Oh. Okay, Sung, did you want to say anything else in addition to that?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Greg.
Okay, thank you. Cheryl Butler, any comment?
Oh, just the support.
Thank you. And Jason Weiss, any comment?
No comment.
Thank you. Ricardo Sanchez, any comment?
No comment.
Thank you. Shirley Kim, any comment?
No comment.
Thank you. Jig Patel, any comment?
No comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Albert Wong, any comment?
No thanks.
Okay. And I think in that case, it's time to open for public comment. So moderator, please open up the lines.
All right, this is a moderator, and at the direction of the board, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a public comment on this agenda item, please click that icon with a question mark within a square located at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. I'll go ahead and pause a moment to allow the public time to access that Q&A panel and submit their requests. All right, this is the moderator, and looks like we do have one individual who has requested public comment, Stephen Gray. Stephen, you'll be given 2 minutes to speak and a 10-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the Board of Pharmacy for moving forward on this in an expeditious manner. It is super important. CSHP has been behind this from the start, and we really appreciate the efforts of CPHA and all the other supporters of this ability to address HIV for the residents of California. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, this is the moderator, and it looks like that was our only individual who has requested public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
All right, Q&A panel is now closed.
Okay, we will now vote on the motion. So I'll start with Cheryl Butler.
Yes.
Thank you. Debbie Veal.
Yes.
Thank you. Jason Weiss.
Yes.
Thank you. Ricardo Sanchez.
Yes.
Thank you. Jig Patel.
Yes.
Thank you. Shirley Kim.
Yes.
Thank you. Sung Oh.
Yes.
Thank you. Maria Serpa.
Yes.
Thank you. Albert Wong.
Yes.
Thank you. And I vote yes. Motion passes. We'll move on to agenda item 4. Discussion and consideration of board-approved text to initiate rulemaking related to the pharmacy technician application, pharmacy technician training requirements, and pharmacy technician certification programs. Members, the next item for our discussion and consideration is the board's proposed regulation changes to several pharmacy technician regulations. Specifically, the changes would, number 1, update the pharmacy technician application, which is incorporated by and referenced in section 1793.5. Number 2 is to update the pharmacy technician training program requirements, which were established in section 1793.6. And the third is to establish the approved pharmacy technician certification programs established in section 1793.65. The general history of the changes is provided in the meeting materials, which I trust that you've all had an opportunity to review. As we begin our discussion, I draw your attention to the regulation language included in the attachment. Recommended changes are reflected in double underlines and double strike-throughs and will resolve concerns identified by counsel. You will note that the meeting materials provide a brief justification for each of the recommended changes. Specifically, the language in 1793.5 would update the revisions date of the application. The recommended language in section 1793.6 C2A would recast the criminal background check requirement to more closely align with licensure requirements while ensuring informed consent to the student. The recommended language in section 1793.6 C2B would recast the drug screening requirement to include a mandatory advisement to an applicant about the possibility the individual may be required to undergo a drug screen and the potential impact if the drug screen returns a positive result. The recommended language in section 1793.6 C2C would align the age requirement for enrollment and practical experience with a similar age requirement for pharmacist licensure. The final recommended change is to the language in section 1793.65B to extend the validity period of the accepted certification programs to December 2024. Members, having provided summary information, I welcome your comments on the regulation text. As part of your comments, I would also entertain a motion if deemed appropriate. Provided in the meeting materials is possible language to approve the recommended amended language and continue with the rulemaking process should you believe such action is appropriate. When I call your name, please remember to open your line before you begin speaking. We will begin with Maria Serpa.
I move for acceptance of the proposed language.
Okay, thank you. Would anybody like to make a second?
This is Cheryl Butler. I second.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Does Maria maybe want to use the language, the motion language in the
Yeah, yes. Did you want to state that language?
The language that's written, that's on the screen now, or
No.
what would you like me to say?
No, the language
that's in the materials?
that's in the
Yeah.
materials.
I can read
Does
it.
approve the recommended amended language and continue with the rulemaking process. Additionally, delegate to executive officer the authority to make
Right.
technical or non-substantive changes as may be required by the control agency to complete the rulemaking file. Would you like to use that language?
Thank you, Debbie, as stated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Would any, well, I'll call your names for any more comments. So, Cheryl Butler, any more comments related to this?
No.
Okay, thank you. Debbie Veal,
No comment.
thank you. Jason Weiss,
No comments.
thank you. Ricardo Sanchez,
No comment.
thank you. Sung Oh,
No comment.
thank you. Anybody who isn't speaking at the moment, can you mute your line because we're getting feedback. Shirley Kim,
No comment.
thank you. Jig Patel,
No comment.
thank you. Albert Wong,
No comment.
thank you. Maria, did you wish to say anything else besides making the motion?
No further comments.
Thank you. Okay, it is now time to open for public comments. Moderator, please open the lines.
President Lippy, this is Eileen. Did somebody second Dr. Serpa's motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Cheryl Butler.
All right, thank you. Sorry.
Please go ahead, moderator.
This is the moderator. At the direction of the board, I have opened up the Q&A feature for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to make a public comment on this motion, please click that Q&A icon at the bottom right-hand corner of your WebEx screen. And it looks like we do have a couple individuals who have requested public comment. We'll go in the order that they are received. Our first individual is Leona Dombrowski. Leona, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to speak and a 30-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the board for allowing me to speak this morning. I'm speaking from Santa Ana Community College, where I am an instructor. And my comments are specifically to address letters B and C of the proposed language. So while we support the intent that the board is attempting to accomplish here, we have some operational concerns related to two of the proposed statements. First of all, we have no application process at a community college whereby we can screen or pre-screen students or desired students and identify or educate them as to what they may or may not be required to do or not do. So background check in advance of during an application process is not something we can operationalize at the community college. All students are eligible to enroll in whatever classes they choose to, and we're obligated to instruct them. So we would propose that we revise the language in 2B to indicate that the colleges would instruct students that they would be required to submit a background check to the Board of Pharmacy, and that there may be, if they have activity in their background that may preclude them from having a license, that they're made aware of that at the beginning of their coursework, and also that we could put something in advertisements and media that is about the program indicating that criminal background checks are utilized by the board, and certain activities may have prevented a candidate from obtaining a license. As a community college instructor, I am not qualified to review someone's background check and make a determination as to whether the board would issue a license or not, and the same concern is for the urine drug screening test. Thank you.
Thank you, Leona.
Hey, Greg, can I make a comment to Ms. Dombrowski?
Absolutely.
This is our challenge. A couple things. This is Debbie Veal, board member. I understand where you're coming from. However, I also want you to understand where we're coming from. And where we're coming from is we have repeatedly in the past received comments from individuals who go through the whole training process, and then at the very end, after they've spent whatever amount of time it takes them to accomplish their certificate or degree, they at that point then apply to the Board of Pharmacy, and we say, you know, you have things in your background that would preclude us from being able to issue you a tech license or certification. So that's the whole reason these are all put together. We would not be able to do, you know, as you suggest, you know, have them submit to us to do a criminal check. We would not do that ahead of time. We would only do that at the time of application. But we're trying to prevent this reoccurring problem that we've had. And so this has, and from all the public comment we received, we've been talking about this for honestly years. And from the feedback we received, this was the solution that kind of the stakeholders came up to us with. So I just kind of want to provide that little bit of background because perhaps you have not been involved in the process over the last couple of years, you know, since we've been kind of trying to work through this. But this has been a very big issue that we've heard back from stakeholders and applicants that they were greatly disappointed at the time of application to find out that they would always have had this problem, and they would have, we've been asked, how can we stop it at the beginning before we even start the process? Anyway, just
what do you
provide
think?
feedback.
What do you think about the suggestion about at least putting some warning on our website?
This is
I think our
Anne. May I
website
jump
already-
in for just a minute?
Yeah, please go ahead, Ed.
Sorry, so a couple of things that might be helpful for the board as you're considering this public comment. The first thing that I want to note is the regulation that the board is considering would not apply to an associate's degree because of the different qualification methods. The proposed regulation specific to the comment is for a technician training program, and I believe that the community colleges are offering an associate's degree in pharmacy technology, and that pathway to licensure would not be subject to the requirements of the proposed language. There are some other ones also that would not be subject to the proposed regulation. So I wanted to include that because I believe that it may be helpful for the board when they are considering the comment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I apologize for the interruption.
Great. This is
Yes.
Albert. I have a comment.
Yes, Albert.
Yeah, can we, when the student, when we give out this, when the school give out this application to the student, can we have them sign a statement that they receive this notice that we will do this when they apply for licensing, just for them to acknowledge they receive this statement and they understand there will be screening.
Counsel, is that something that we're able to discuss at this point?
Well, I think, Albert, I think the issue is at point of application.
Debbie, you're not counsel. I was asking counsel, and then please, you can speak after that. Will our counsel respond, please?
This is Sheila Chitayan. Yes, you could explore that possibility of some type of acknowledgement in the regulation. It would just be a matter of implementing it and what type of acknowledgement that would be. If you'd require that it be written, if you'd require that it be signed by affidavit. Those are a little bit extreme, but the regulation as written is to put the onus on the program to make sure that they advise the students so that they're well informed before they undertake participation in the program.
Well,
And
shouldn't that be something that we turn over to the licensing committee as opposed to, we can't act on it today, can we?
We could revise this regulation to do that today if you wanted some form of acknowledgement.
Then we'd have to go out to another comment period, right?
Right. So
Okay.
let me go back to what Anne was saying, because I think it would be helpful to clarify. So under the statute, there's 3 pathways basically for education to licensure. And that, as Anne mentioned, is an associate's degree in pharmacy technology, which many of the community colleges provide, or a graduation from a school of pharmacy, such as an ASHP school. So 4202A2 are those programs specified by the board. A course of training specified by the board is the exact language. So the regulation 1793.6 are the regulations that were promulgated by statute to address those schools. And the policy, as you've stated, was to make sure that those students who are undertaking those programs are fully informed of the adverse consequences of a criminal background check or a positive drug screen.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. And Debbie, please tell us what you wanted to say.
Yeah, so I think the point is that we're trying to get the students to be aware of this at the beginning of their program. Because you're not applying for a technician license until the end of your program. So whether it be and I don't know the length of these programs, or whether it be like a 12 or 6 month technician certification, or which I think is from my understanding what we're talking about. What we're trying to do, Albert, is have them be notified at the beginning, because right now at the end when they apply for it, they could, sign off that they're aware, but it's too late. I mean, I think that's what people have told us. It's too late. I've already spent my money and time going through this program. It's too late now. Why couldn't I have known at the beginning? So I think our goal is to put an onus on these programs to make sure that at the beginning of the program, these folks know that we're going to do these kind of screenings, and it could disqualify them from being issued the technician license.
Yeah, Debbie. What I meant for them for the school to give the notice and have them sign the affidavit they received this notice that they are aware of this regulation. That's before when they apply for the school.
I'm sorry, who was wanting to speak?
Mr. President, this is Maria. I think there's a happy solution.
Yes.
And that would be that Albert has a great idea about education and communication, that could be going to the Public Education Committee to determine some educational materials to send out to technicians in training. But that the regulation regarding the application that we're currently looking could move forward as is.
Agreed. Thank you, Maria. Okay, Albert, does that work for you? Hello, Albert?
Yes, it's okay.
Thank you. Okay, do any other members have anything to say about this? Otherwise, we'll move back to public comment. Okay, thank you all for your comments. Let's go on, moderator, to other public comments if there are any.
All right, this is the moderator, and it looks like we do have one more individual who has requested public comment, Stephen Gray. Stephen Gray, I'll be giving you 2 minutes to speak and a 10-second warning. I am unmuting your microphone now.
Thank you very much. Stephen Gray on behalf of CSHP. We are very glad to support this regulation as written from CSHP. It is, as Member Debbie Veal indicated, something that has been needed for many years and the board has been working on for years. We believe that the board has done an excellent job in the crafting of this regulation language and has made it more clear, especially that it is important to have the age requirement and the checks, the background checks and the drug checks before the technician trainees enter their experiential training, where they will have access to controlled substances and other dangerous drugs, and they will have access to a lot of confidential information. So we believe that is very important. I would also like to point out, President Lippy, I think you didn't mention subsection D. Subsection D talks about require a final examination that demonstrates the student's understanding and ability. That is also very important, and it also reflects what is required of pharmacy schools for pharmacists. Up until January 1 or thereabouts of 2016, there was no explicit and strong requirement for pharmacy schools to conduct what is called assessment examinations to make sure they have learned what they're supposed to learn. So this mirrors that and is also very important. So thank you for putting this forward.
Thank you, Steve. Okay,
President Lippy, this is Eileen. Would you want to open it up for public comment since the board member spoke after the original commenter gave her comments, to give her a chance to respond?
Sure. So let's go ahead and do that. Are there any public comments related to that?
This is the moderator. Members of the public, the Q&A feature is still open if you would like to indicate that you would like to make a public comment. I'll pause a moment to allow you time to access that Q&A panel.
Doesn't look like there are any.
Oh, I apologize. This is the moderator. It looks like our first commenter wishes to speak again, so I will go ahead and unmute her microphone. So Leona, I will unmute your microphone now.
Thank you. And I do support and agree with what the board is intending to do, Debbie. I completely understand that there are probably programs out there taking money from students who will never become qualified to become technician. And I want to point out that our program is very strong in notifying students during their first introductory course about all of the requirements for licensure and the board. My issue continues to go back to the requirement that the instructor review the background, the criminal background and the drug screening material that is presented by the student and advise them. And I feel that as an instructor, I'm not qualified to review someone's criminal background check and make a determination about whether the board would issue them a license or not. So our practice is that we notify students that they need to review their background check. We require them to obtain one during their first semester and review it. And if they have questions about something that may be an issue for them, that they need to seek guidance from the board about whether it would prohibit them from licensure. I am not qualified to speak on your behalf and say, yes, you can get a license, or no, you can't. And I also want to support the comment that having the student sign a document during their first course of the semester indicating that they are aware that they have to meet requirements such as this for the board would be, a terrific solution to help the board with students coming forward later in the process and saying, I didn't know. So I would like to speak in support of that process as well. Thank you for allowing me to comment.
Thank you, Leona.
Greg, can we ask Ms. Dombrowski if she has suggestions on how she would change the language?
Sure. We will let her come back to respond to that.
Before we do that, this is Sheila Tatayan. May I be heard on this?
Sure.
So in looking at the specific language, it requires that an administrator or instructor shall counsel applicants about the negative impact to securing licensure. That is very general. So let me give you an example in response to Ms. Dombrowski's comment. I understand what she's saying, that she feels she's not qualified to say with specificity what types of crimes would prevent licensure. But again, the language is general. So counseling applicants about the negative impacts could be met by pointing them to the pharmacy law. So the pharmacy law does indicate a background check is required and that there's a possibility if there's criminal conduct revealed, then a license may not be issued. So it's not to the specificity that I think Ms. Dombrowski is concerned about.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you very much. This is Debbie. Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. Would you like me to unmute Ms. Dombrowski?
Yes, you can do it one more time, please.
Right, Leona, I'm going to unmute your microphone now.
Oops, sorry, I had muted myself. I apologize for having missed the comment period, the 45-day period, and I sent an email, unfortunately, last night, which I think was later than the 45-day comment period allowed. But I did have, and I appreciate the clarification from counsel, because that really pretty much addresses my concern in that we would not be expected on a one-on-one basis to review a student's background check personally with them and then make a determination you may or you may not proceed. So we definitely are currently addressing this on at a class level with PowerPoints and everything about what the law requires. So I think my concerns are pretty well met, but my proposed language was something that training programs must notify students and potential students that they would be required to perform, in this case, a drug screening test for illicit substances prior to attending their experiential rotations, and that positive results could have a negative impact on their ability to be licensed by the board or obtain employment as a pharmacy technician. And that kind of language would allow programs such as ours to notify student. We can put it on our website. We can put it in our welcome to class type material so that people are aware of it early enough in the program that they could withdraw and receive a refund on their first class tuition. And
Okay,
so
we're going over the time period allotted to you, and I think that we've covered everything that you wanted to cover. So I'm going to have to ask you to stop commenting at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Can I
Okay,
say one more thing? Yeah. What I meant is that we have the student acknowledged, receive the information prior when they apply for the class, but not doing the internship. I mean, that's too late. So I would like them to know that beforehand when they sign up for the class, so they are aware of this what the requirement
Okay,
is.
and we'll discuss that at public education. Thank you, Albert. Okay, are there any other public comments?
This is the moderator. It looks like at this time there are no further requests for public comment. Would you like me to close that Q&A panel?
Yes, please.
Right, the Q&A panel is now closed.
Okay, having member comment, having public comment, having a motion and a second, it's now time to vote. So I will start with Maria Serpa.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Albert Wong. Albert?
Are we voting for to accept?
Yes.
Yeah.
To accept, yes, the regulation, the changes
Yes.
to the regulation. Thank you. Okay, Jig Patel.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Sung Oh.
Yes.
Thank you. Shirley Kim.
Yes.
Thank you. Ricardo Sanchez.
Yes.
Thank you. Jason Weiss.
Yes.
Thank you. Cheryl Butler.
Yes.
Thank you. Debbie Veal.
Yes.
Thank you. And I am a yes. So the motion passes. Next, we're at the petition hearing stage. So what I'm going to do is let's take a 10-minute break. And when we come back, I will turn the meeting over to the administrative law judge who will preside over the petition hearings.
All right, this is the moderator. We will return at 9:57. In the meantime, I will go ahead and promote our first petitioner up to a panelist, and we'll do a quick mic check. So Daniel O, I will promote you up to a panelist. And Daniel, can I get a quick mic check from you?
Hi, this is Daniel. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Hi, moderator. Okay. 9:57. Okay, I'll be taking a roll call to make sure everybody's back. Moderator, are you with me?
Yes, this is the moderator.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and this next portion, it's my understanding is going to be video. Correct. Okay.
That is correct, President.
Thank
Board
you.
members, cameras on.
Okay, for board members, all please turn your cameras on. All right, I'm going to take a roll call to make sure we're all here. So I'll start with Cheryl Butler.
Here.
Thank you. Shirley Kim. Julie. I'll skip for the moment. Sung Ho.
I'm here.
So, thank you. Jake Patel.
I'm here.
Thank you. Maria Serpa.
Here.
Thank you. Jason White. Jason.
Here.
Thank you. Albert Wong. Albert. Did you say yes? You're here? I didn't hear. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you. Debbie Veal.
Here. And your video's not on, Greg. I can't see you.
Well, it's interesting because I see it on, and but the thing keeps going around in a circle. But it shows I'm looking at my face on here. I don't know what that's all about. Is there something that you can do? I'll try.
This is the moderator. You're having trouble with the video?
Well, according to my computer, it says the video's on and I can see myself, but there's a circle that keeps going around in the middle of the picture. Debbie said she can't see me at all.
This is the moderator. I also
We don't want to
cannot
see you anyway.
Thank you. I don't mind if you don't see me.
I don't feel that way, Greg.
And not that I'm the video monitor, but Albert, I can't see you either.
Oh. Well, can anybody see me?
No, I can't see you, Greg.
Okay.
I see everybody else and their smiling faces.
I guess I'll just wind up in the abyss. But I'll finish the roll call. Ricardo Sanchez.
I'm here. My video's up.
Thank you. And Shirley Kim, are you here? I have to see.
President Lippy, I apologize for the interruption. I believe Member Kim was only available to participate for a portion of the day. I don't believe she's available.
I don't see you and I don't hear you.
Regan said Shirley is not going to be available anymore.
Okay, well, I think we're going to have to start. We have a quorum. Yeah, my video's not working here. Well, we're going to have to go ahead. Okay. I'm going to turn the meeting over to our Administrative Law Judge, Corin Wong, who will preside over the petition hearings. Please go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Lippy. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Lippy, just for clarification, does the board prefer I call the matters in order listed on the agenda, or that I call the matters with counsel?
Is our judge with us?
Oops, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead with the petition hearing.
Okay, so Mr. Lippy, I was just seeking clarification. Does the board prefer I call the matters in the order listed on the agenda, or call the matters with counsel first?
I think you should call the ones with counsel first, please.
Okay, so the order I'll call the matters are, first I'll call Jane Young Ju Ha matter, Second will be Cesar Cabrera's matter. Third will be Daniel O's matter. And then fourth will be Ahmad Naban's matter.
Okay.
So, Madam Moderator, I think you may have promoted Mr. O before we took the break. If you could promote Ms. Ha and her counsel, who is Dr. Petrozelka.
All right, this is the moderator. I apologize, I went in the order that was on the agenda. So Daniel O, I'm gonna demote you back down to an attendee real quick. So let's do that, and then we will promote Ms. Ha and Ivan. 1 second while I find them in the attendee list. So I have our petitioner logged in twice. I'm going to promote one of them and do a quick mic check, and hopefully that is the correct. Oop, that one I cannot promote to panelist, so I will promote the other one to panelist. And then Ivan. All right. So Jane and Ivan, you should be able to unmute your microphones and turn on your cameras if you wish to turn on your cameras. Can I get a quick mic check from both of you?
Ivan Petrozelka on behalf of Jane Ha.
All right, wonderful. I can hear you and see you. It looks like I'm still waiting for Jane Ha, her audio.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like we have the people we need on the panel. Let me pull up this matter. So let's go ahead and go on the record for this matter. So we are on the record before the California State Board of Pharmacy, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, in the matter of the petition for early termination of probation of Jane Young Ju, J-U, Ha, H-A, aka Young Ju Woo, W-O-O. It's agency case number 5554, OAH number 2021-030381. My name is Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings.
Is this breaking up for everybody, or is it just breaking up on my side? Because I can't really hear it.
This is the moderator,
I think
board
it's
president.
just you, Greg.
It's just me? Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, because what was just being said was breaking up quite a bit coming to me.
This is the moderator. What I have two options for you. You can either log out of the WebEx and rejoin and see if that helps. If that does not help, what you can try is connecting your audio through your phone.
Right.
Your audio connection will be a little bit more clear that way.
Okay, let me go out and try to come back in and see what happens, because maybe the camera will work too.
Okay.
So just
so
give me a minute.
All right, so we will pause momentarily while we wait for our board president to rejoin.
Sure, so let's go ahead and go off the record.
This is the moderator. Board President Lippy, are you able to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I just had to switch computers.
Okay, does the audio sound clearer now for you?
Yes, it's fine now.
Okay, wonderful. We will be returning at 10:20.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
We can see you now.
Yeah, it's a different computer. I had to switch computers.
Nice background.
Thank you. You don't want to see the real one.
Well, we can see you now, Greg. Oh my gosh, I can see Albert too. Is that a donut that you're eating, Albert? You're on mute, by the way, both of you.
There we go.
Greg's usually the donut man.
Yeah. Right. I guess we're going to start in 1 minute. I don't know what happened. Cisco said it was having a problem with my other computer.
I missed all the meeting that we have all the donuts.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's better for our health.
Maybe in 6 months, guys. Who knows?
There you go. Yeah, well, I think it's 10:20. It is 10:20. So let's,
Hi.
I'm going to take a roll call to see if everybody's back. So let's start with Cheryl Butler. I see you.
Yes, I'm here. Hello, Greg.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Shirley Kim. Shirley?
Shirley's not here, Greg.
Not here. Okay. Sang, I just heard you, so you're here. Jake Patel.
Here.
Thank you. Maria Serpa.
Here.
Thank you. Jason Weiss.
Here.
Thank you. Albert Wong. Albert, I know you're here. Okay. Debbie V.
Here.
Thank you. Maria Serpa, I see you. Okay. And Ricardo Sanchez, I heard you before, but are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you. So it looks like we're all here except for Shirley. So let's go ahead.
All right, thank you. So let's go ahead and go back on the record. So my name is Quorum Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. To establish a quorum of the board for the record, I request that each member respond audibly after his or her name is called. Mr. Lippy?
Here.
Ms. Veal?
Here.
Dr. Serpa?
Here.
Ms. Butler?
Here.
Dr. O?
Here.
Mr. Patel?
Here.
Mr. Sanchez?
Here.
Mr. Weiss?
Here.
And Dr. Wong?
Yes, here.
Okay, let the record reflect that a quorum is present. Next, may I take the appearance of counsel, starting with counsel from the Attorney General's office.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. I'm Deputy Attorney General Christina Jarvis. I am appearing here on behalf of the Attorney General for the people of the state of California. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. Thank you.
Ivan Petrzelka on behalf of Ms. Jane Ha.
And let the record reflect that Ms. Ha is also present.
Yes.
So for the benefit of all parties in this matter, as well as those in the future matters, in particular the ones who are not represented by counsel, I'll explain a little bit of the procedural process. So first, we'll have the Deputy Attorney General provide or present the petition documents, and then provide a short overview of the history of the particular license. After that, the petitioner has the opportunity to make a presentation under oath in support of his or her petition. After the petitioner finishes his or her presentation, Ms. Jarvis will have a chance to, excuse me, ask questions. After Ms. Jarvis has completed her questioning, then the board will have opportunity to ask questions. And it should be noted that what the board is particularly interested in is hearing about any rehabilitation the petitioner has undergone since his or her license was disciplined. After all questions are finished and all evidence has been presented, the matter will be submitted, and the board, after hearing all the matters, will adjourn to closed session. And so a decision will not be issued today, but will be issued later on in the future. All right, so with that, Ms. Jarvis, do you wish to present your documents?
Yes, Your Honor. Would you like me to start with the documents?
Please.
Okay, so at this time, I have divided the documents into two exhibits. Exhibit 1 is the jurisdictional packet, which includes the notice of hearing, the consent to electronic recording, the memorandum, and then the underlying decision and order. And I'd like to admit all of those as Exhibit 1.
Okay, those documents are marked collectively as Exhibit 1. Mr. Petrozelka, any objection to 1 for all purposes?
No objection, Your Honor.
1 is so admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then Exhibit 2 is the petition packet that was submitted by the petitioner, including the petition, I believe a cover letter from her attorney, a 6-page personal statement in answer to the questions in the petition itself, continuing education certificates in the amount of 138.25 hours, which were submitted with the petition, and then an additional 33.75 hours for the time period from January 1st, 2020 through January 28th, 2021. And then finally, 6 letters of recommendation, 4 of which were able to be verified. And I ask that all of those documents be admitted in whole as Exhibit 2.
All right, those documents are marked collectively as 2. Dr. Petrozelka, any objection to 2 for all purposes?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, 2 is so admitted. Ms. Jarvis, any other documents?
Nope.
And just so I don't forget, Dr. Petrozelka, I did receive additional documents, the CPE monitor activity transcript. Ms. Jarvis, just to confirm, those were not included in Exhibit 2, correct?
No, they were not when they were uploaded. So those were the additional 33.75 hours. They were uploaded after the petition was received by the board. So.
Okay. So Dr. Petrozelka, do you wish to have those marked as Exhibit A?
Yes, Your Honor, if possible. And I'd like to offer the reason for the delayed submission. This petition was originally filed more than a year ago, and due to various circumstances, the board was unable to hear it. Nevertheless, Ms. Ha continued her rehabilitation and continuing education effort, and I'd like to present that as an evidence to be considered at today's hearing. So that's why we submitted it just shortly prior to this hearing.
Okay, so the CPE monitor activity transcript will be marked as Exhibit A. Ms. Jarvis, any objection to A for all purposes?
No, not at all.
Okay, A is so admitted. Ms. Jarvis, if you would like to provide your summary.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This matter arose through an accusation filed on June 13th, 2016. The accusation was filed against Vaughn's Pharmacy, as well as the petitioner. Petitioner was the pharmacist in charge of Vaughn's Pharmacy at the time, otherwise known as the PIC. The accusation arose due to thefts of controlled substances and dangerous drugs by a pharmacy technician. Those thefts led to the discovery that approximately 230,000 tablets of hydrocodone/APAP of various strengths, all 4 of the strengths that are generally used, were missing. And unfortunately, the pharmacy's record keeping and inventory was so poor that it was difficult, if not impossible, to determine the exact amount of the missing medications or where those medications actually went. The pharmacy technician did admit to stealing approximately 34,000 tablets, which is significant enough in itself, but there were still an additional 200 tablets missing. There were 2 causes for discipline specific to the petitioner. First, failing to maintain pharmacy security, in that so many drugs were missing, and then failing to maintain a current inventory such that an accurate account of the loss of controlled substances could not be properly completed. Several audits were completed using different calculations, a zero beginning audit where they assume no tablets were in inventory, which obviously would provide an inaccurate but general picture of the issues, which showed approximately 30,000 tablets were still missing even with a zero start audit. Now, petitioner entered into a stipulated settlement with the board, which was effective November 3rd, 2017. She was placed on probation for 4 years. She was ordered to serve a 14-day suspension. And this is the first time I've had this happen, but petitioner was ordered to pay $5,000 in restitution costs or in investigation and prosecution costs, and she has overpaid. And as of the time that I received the petition, the board actually owes petitioner $119.60. The petitioner was also ordered to complete remedial education, perform community service, and report to the board on a quarterly basis, along with the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Petitioner has completed all terms and is fully compliant with probation at this time. Sufficient time period has passed for the board to consider this petition. As previously stated, with the petition, petitioner submitted 138.25 hours of continuing education. That was from February of 2018 to December of 2019. So those additional hours that we discussed are now Exhibit A, were for essentially the year of 2020. The 6 letters of recommendation, as I stated, 4 were able to be verified. The other 2 authors failed to return the board staff's telephone calls. All of the letters were extremely positive. All 4 of the verified letters, the authors stated they were aware of the board's discipline, and the 3 pharmacist letters that were included in the packet all state that petitioner is a great pharmacist and either made a mistake or then believed that petitioner was taken advantage of because she is too good a pharmacist, manager, mentor, and perfectionist to have allowed this to happen. At this point, I will allow the petitioner herself to tell the board about her rehabilitation efforts since the discipline became effective. Thank you.
All right, so Dr. Petrzalka, do you have any witnesses other than Dr. Ha herself?
No, Your Honor. If I may, I would like to make a brief introductory statement, and then I would allow Ms. Ha to testify on her own behalf.
So before you do that, just one other question. Do you have any other additional documents you wanted to have marked and admitted?
No, Your Honor. All the documents that we intend to present have been already admitted.
All right, if you would like to make your statement.
Okay. So first of all, we would like to thank the board for the opportunity to present our petition and for their kind consideration. We understand that these petitions are not granted lightly, and we would like to assure the board that this petition was filed after careful consideration and without any notion or sense of entitlement on Ms. Ha's part. We do believe, however, that the circumstances of the instant case do warrant a consideration of the penalty that was imposed on Ms. Ha, and we hereby respectfully submit the petition. As Ms. Jarvis early stated, Ms. Ha entered into a stipulated settlement which placed her license on probation for 4 years, subject to certain terms and conditions, including supervised practice. And excuse me. And as Ms. Jarvis also stated, Ms. Ha was essentially held liable for a rogue conduct, for criminal conduct of one of her employees as the pharmacist in charge. Although Ms. Ha was not personally involved in any diversionary activities, as the pharmacist in charge, she accepted the responsibility and entered into the settlement. The conduct that led to these disciplinary proceedings had occurred approximately 10 years ago. And Ms. Ha has been continuously involved in improving her practice and in rehabilitation efforts to which she will testify in a moment. But just to give the highlights, after she discovered the deficiencies at her place of employment, she immediately engaged in implementation of additional security measures in her workplace that far exceeded the basic requirements of her employer, that being a chain store. She engaged in quite extensive educational activities that included several certificate courses, such as the Pharmacy Regulatory Specialist course, Advanced Practice Pharmacist training, courses in comprehensive medication management, training organized by the Drug Enforcement Administration with the focus on prevention of abuse and diversion of controlled substances, safe opioid dispensing training, etc. Ms. Ha has also been engaged in community service, not only to the extent that was mandated by her disciplinary order, but to expand her experience and to expand her service to the community. Overall, Ms. Ha sincerely regrets that she allowed her vigilance to lapse during the time that she was acting as the pharmacist in charge at one's pharmacy, to allow this rogue technician to engage in diversionary activities without discovering it in time. And we hope that the board will consider the Ms. Ha's conduct over the period of last 3 years and her continuing mitigation and rehabilitation activity. And we respectfully argue and submit that at this point of time, continuing probation is no longer in the best interest of the public, because it does not really improve public safety, but it serves as a purely punitive measure against Ms. Ha at this point of time. And therefore, we respectfully submit that termination of her probation at this time is in the public interest. And I would like to now call Ms. Ha to testify on her own behalf.
All right, Dr. Ha, if I could have you raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Honor.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Dr. Petrozelka, did you wish to question her, or did you wish to have her testify in the narrative?
I will produce some questions, and then Dr. Ha will be able to provide some narrative on her own.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Ha, how long have you been a registered pharmacist in the state of California?
About 17 years, and I graduated in South Korea, became licensed in 2001 as a pharmacist. But in California, I was licensed in 2004.
Okay. And could you tell us a little bit more about what led to the current discipline by the board?
So when I was in PIC at Bond's Pharmacy in El Centro in 2013, one of the technicians employed was stealing Norco. Back then, it was C3, so it was not locked in the cabinet. The technician was changing on-hand computer, the count, so it was really hard to, I'm sorry, I'm hearing the whole, so it's so confusing. He was changing on-hand count while stealing, so it was really hard to discover for our end. And I was disciplined for not keeping the pharmacy secure and keeping the record not intact.
And what did you do when you learned about this theft? My understanding is that it was discovered by sort of a coincidence when the corporate loss prevention conducted an audit. So after you've learned of these, the theft and the discrepancies in inventory, what have you done and what changes have you implemented in your own personal workflow and at the pharmacy to prevent things like that from happening again?
So I changed the process of ordering and inventory management of controlled medications totally. So only pharmacists are allowed to change on-hand quantity in the computer system and receive the orders only by the pharmacist. And the company mandates only to keep the C2 medication in the log cabinet, but we store all C2 to 5 in a log cabinet, so only pharmacists can handle it. And pharmacists are only allowed to access those medications. And if we have to do a return to stock on a control medication, only pharmacists are allowed to do it.
Okay. So at present, and let me ask you this, are you still working for the same company or are you working somewhere else now?
Yes, I'm working at the same company, and I'm so grateful that company is supporting me. And I'm closely working with the PIC to make changes to implement those my learning from my mistakes at our own pharmacy.
But it is not the same pharmacy where this theft happened, is it?
No, it's a different location.
Different location. And you took the kind of the learning process, if you will, from your old pharmacy and you implemented the same security measures in your new pharmacy?
No, actually, I implemented totally different ones. So everything is locked up. It acts like a closed door pharmacy for controlled substances. Only pharmacist has the access to it.
Okay. But that's not something that is mandated by our corporate structure, is it?
No, it's a little bit more burden for pharmacists to do everything about the control medications and filling and dispensing, but I think it's safer that way.
Are you taking any steps to prevent this manipulation of the perpetual inventory data? Because that was my understanding is that that's how the technician perpetrated this theft, that he manipulated the data in the inventory. So what have you done to prevent this, to prevent somebody else from doing the same thing, essentially?
I'm running a report and see if there's any manual on-hand change in the computer system. But right now, the system halts the technicians to change on-hand quantity, so it's impossible at our pharmacy.
Okay. And how do you reconcile your controlled substances, or how do you verify that these reports that you're looking at are accurate? What if somebody is just taking pills on the side without changing the records? Can you find out about that?
When we are dispensing any control medications, we put the actual count, the bottle count on the bottle and the date. So we would notice it immediately when there is any discrepancies, and which is not matching in the computer system.
Is this something that you put in place, or is this something that the company put in place as a corporate?
Well, I started doing it and the company actually mandated it afterwards.
Okay. Okay. One of your conditions is the supervised practice. What does that mean for your practice and for your pharmacy, for the scheduling in your pharmacy, your supervisor, etc.?
So my terms right now is I have to be supervised within 24 hours of my work. And so my supervisor has to work after me every 24 hours. So it's really hard to schedule around my schedule, and my supervisor cannot take time off in a row. And she has her personal and families that's out of state who wants to visit, but it's kind of hindered and it's causing a little bit of trouble.
Okay. And so did you have any difficulties maintaining your employment during the time of your probation?
So first 6 months, the company was deciding if they're gonna take me back or not. So I was not working as a full-time, and it caused my financial hardship. But my friend gave me some hours in her own pharmacy, so I was able to work as a part-time.
Are you working full-time now?
I am working full-time, yes.
Okay. And could you tell us more about the activities that you have undertaken as a rehabilitation?
So I took many CEs as possible that's related to laws and regulation, and put my own safety checks in the pharmacy. I realized the corporate policy is not enough to prevent any kind of drug inversion. So I took my own ownership and take extra steps to prevent any kind of theft.
So my understanding of the circumstances of your initial case was that you sort of blindly trusted your employee in your pharmacy at that time. Is that something that you would ever do again?
No, I learned it hard way. So I thought it was my mistake, my misjudgment, trusting my technicians fully. So from now on, I will check everybody who comes in and out of the pharmacy, keep an eye open, ear open, and be more vigilant.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the measures that you put in place in your current place with respect to restricting technicians or watching the events in your pharmacy?
So right now at this moment, regarding controlled medication, only pharmacist handles it. The technician cannot really access any controlled medication unless they are dispensing to the patient. We are watching over the pickup window also very closely.
Okay. Can technicians have any personal items like bags, backpacks,
No,
purses in the pharmacy?
no. Nothing, large bags, nothing is allowed except the phones and wallet.
Do you periodically check the work of your pharmacists and your technicians? I understand that you're not the PIC, but do you still check on your staff at this point of time?
Yes, I do check everybody's that's coming in and out of the pharmacy. I learned my lessons.
Okay. How does your supervisor feel about you being engaged in implementing security measures while you're not actually the pharmacist in charge? Is that something that causes a problem for you or for her?
No. She's very supportive in that. She's also very grateful that I'm giving her advices to prevent any kind of thefts. I don't have any problem.
So would you think that this personal experience from your prior employment and from this disciplinary case, would you think that it was beneficial for your professional development?
Of course, I tried to learn from this experience, took many CEs as possible, and to prevent any kind of theft in the pharmacy, I placed some safety checks in every workflow in the pharmacy. And also those community service gave me another kind of rewarding, and I'm very happy that I could help underserved communities with my practice.
So why do you think should the board grant your petition? I mean, you've entered into a stipulated settlement agreement that was negotiated with the board almost 3 years ago. Why would you think that at this point of time, the board should consider your petition and grant you the reprieve of shortening your probation at this time?
So as I said before, I demonstrated the complete rehab over the last 3 years, and I've learned from my errors and made changes in my practice to improve security of controlled substances. And I'm now better understanding of continuous vigilance, and I focus my effort to comply with all regulations of drug abuse and diversion. And my supervisor, she wants to take some time off in a row, but because of my schedule, she cannot. And it's really hard to find a pharmacist relief right now with this COVID situation going on and vaccination. So I would like to shorten my probation in order to, for all those reasons.
In your continuing education, you have taken the Advanced Practice Pharmacist course. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that is and why did you take that course?
Yes, I want to grow my learning as a pharmacist and stay up to date with today's trend of medication management to help our customers or patients more. And I would like to continue that. If the probation stops, I would like to pursue that licensing.
Okay, so at this point, if you're on probation, you cannot pursue that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So is that one of the reasons why you're asking the board to reduce your probation or penalty so you can pursue this additional licensing?
That is correct too, sir.
And if the board were to honor your request and grant you this petition, what do you intend to do? What's your future? What's your vision of future for yourself?
So I will continue work as a community pharmacist. But right now with this COVID situation, the pharmacists are more in need, especially like different store, they do need a relief pharmacist for to give out COVID vaccinations. And I would love to help out to ramp up the vaccinations for our public. And I would like to work in a different locations. And again, also I will pursue my AP licensing too.
Okay, and under the current conditions, because of the supervised practice requirement, you're not able to participate in these vaccination clinics outside of your regular store, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Unless my supervisor works behind me, I'm not allowed to work in a clinic like that.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the board that would be relevant to your request to terminate your probation earlier?
I am very grateful to work as a pharmacist right now in the front line, and I will do everything and stay continuously up to date with their law and regulations to prevent any kind of theft that happened in the past. I learned from my mistakes, and I will do everything to prevent any kind of diversions.
Thank you, Dr. Hunt. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Jarvis, anything on cross?
Yes, Your Honor. I actually just have one question, Dr. Ha. So you understand, as you sit here today, that this decision will not be rendered today, correct?
That is correct.
So as it stands, you are scheduled to terminate from probation in, I think, 7.5 months, if my calculations are correct. So by the time a decision is made on this, at most you'll be terminated maybe 5 months early. Does that still
Still, it does, yes.
help you?
Yes, it does help me because my supervisor can take some vacations during summertime.
And do you intend to continue with your, I mean, you've done a lot of continuing education and a lot of work to further educate yourself on these matters. Do you intend to continue that if you're excused from probation?
Of course, yes.
I have no other questions, Your Honor.
All right, Dr. Pachizalka, anything further on redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, so next I will check to see if there are any questions from the board. First, Mr. Lippy, any questions? Mr. Lippy, you're currently muted.
Okay, I have a question, Your Honor. Was this your first position as a pharmacist in charge? The one where you experienced the problem?
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Okay, had you been a pharmacist in charge anywhere before this situation?
No, it was my first pharmacist in charge position.
And how long were you in that position before this happened?
As pharmacist in charge from 2013 to 2016, 17.
Okay. So had you ever had any kind of training to be a PIC? Or did you just kind of fall?
Yeah, at that time, there was not many pharmacists in place, so I did not get any kind of trainings before becoming a pharmacist in charge.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, next, Ms. Beal, any questions?
Yes, I do have a couple, and thank you very much for coming before us and talking with us today. So I just kind of want to add to Mr. Lippy's question about training as far as the PIC. It sounds like you did not have training before you accepted the position, but once you became a PIC, did your employer provide any training afterwards?
So after all this happening with the diversion and everything, the corporate made a training for drug diversion and corresponding responsibilities in 2014 or 13.
Okay, so it was basically in reaction to what happened to you, they
Yes.
corrected it. Okay. And I didn't catch, where did you say you're currently working? Was it a closed-door pharmacy? Is that what you said?
No, it's actually a community pharmacy, but in a different location. But the controlled substances are like in a closed door pharmacy, only pharmacist handles that. I meant that way.
Got it. Okay. And so you're still with your employer, the former employer? Okay.
Yes, that is
And so the way they're handling controlled substances in your location, is that different than other locations, or is that the same as other locations?
It's more stringent way.
Okay.
Yes, technicians, I think, are allowed still at the other location to fill, but at our location, no.
Okay, well, that speaks to the fact that your employer has kept you on, that you must be a valuable employee. And it sounds like the main reason that you would like to have your probation removed is because of the supervisor that you're working with. It would just kind of free that individual up. Is that true? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yes, too, but I want to work also other locations as well to help out the vaccination ramp up.
Okay, and you can't drag her along with you every place you go.
No.
And would you want to be a PIC again?
If I get an opportunity, yes. I'm very confident that I can act better PIC than before.
Okay. Once again, thank you so much for coming today and spending your time with us and your testimony. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to me.
All right, thank you. Dr. Serpa, any questions?
Hi, thank you. I don't have any further questions. Thank you for your thoughtful testimony.
Thank you.
Ms. Butler, any questions?
No, I also thank you for coming before us. No questions.
Dr. O, any questions?
No further questions, and thank you again for coming to present yourself or petition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Patel, any further questions?
No further questions. Thank you. And thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Mr. Sanchez, any questions?
No further questions. And again, thank you for coming up.
Mr. Weiss, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor, and I reiterate thanks to Dr. Ha.
And Dr. Wong, any questions?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, and just to make sure there are not any other board members who may have thought of additional questions in the meantime, any further questions from the board? Right, hearing none. Ms. Ha, Dr. Ha, you're excused as a witness. And, yes.
May I actually clarify one thing? And I would like to ask Dr. Ha. She had stated that she was the PIC, I think around 2013. According to the records that I have from the board, she was the PIC from 2010 to 2014, and these thefts were discovered in 2013. Dr. Ha, does that comport with your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that so that the record was accurate. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Dr. Ha, you're excused as a witness. Just to confirm, Dr. Petrozelka, do you have any further evidence? Dr. Petrozelka, any further evidence to offer?
My apologies, my got muted. No, Your Honor, all evidence and testimony has been presented at this point of time. And I would like to, on behalf of Dr. Ha, thank the board for listening to us and for their kind consideration for the opportunity to present to this petition. Thank you, Your Honor.
Great, so we'll go with closing arguments. Ms. Jarvis, do you wish to give a closing?
I have no recommendation for the board at this time, Your Honor. I will defer to the board's judgment. Thank you.
Dr. Petrozelka, do you wish to give a closing, or do you wish to have Dr. Ha make a closing statement?
Nothing further, Your Honor. We just like to reiterate our thanks for the kind consideration and for the time, members of the board.
All right, thank you, everyone. So that concludes the matter. And the record's closed, the matter is submitted, and we are off the record. Mr. Lippy, does the board wish to take a brief recess before the next matter, or shall we just proceed? Oops, you're currently muted.
I guess I have the same affliction as everybody else. I think we should go ahead and we'll see what the timing is. We'll probably take our break after the next one.
Very good. So, Madam Moderator, if we could next have Dr. Cesar Cabrera elevated, as well as his counsel, Adam Brown.
All right, this is the moderator. I have promoted our petitioner, and now I'm looking, here we go, his counsel. And just as a quick reminder for those in the panelist role, if you could please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. This will prevent any background noise while other people are speaking. Thank you. All right, and it looks like we have both Cesar and Adam up in the panelist role, and they should be able to unmute their microphones and turn on their cameras.
Good morning, everyone.
Let's go ahead and go back on the record. So we are on the record before the California State Board of Pharmacy, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, in the matter of the petition for reinstatement of Cesar B. Cabrera. It's agency case number 2949 OAH number 2021-030-370. My name is Quorum Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. To establish a quorum of the board for the record, I request that each board member respond audibly after his or her name is called. Mr. Lippy? Mr. Lippy?
Here.
Ms. Veal?
Here.
Dr. Serpa?
Here.
Ms. Butler?
Here.
Dr. O?
Here.
Mr. Patel?
Here.
Mr. Sanchez?
Here.
Mr. Weiss?
Here.
And Dr. Wong?
Here.
All right, let the record reflect that a quorum of the board is present. Next, if I could take the appearances of counsel, starting with counsel from the Attorney General's office.
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. I am Deputy Attorney General Christina Jarvis. I am appearing on behalf of the Attorney General for the people of the state of California. My role is not adversarial, but it is intended to protect the public interest. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, if you...
Good morning. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good
Morning, Your
morning.
Honor. Morning, Your Honor. Adam Brown. I apologize. We're having a few issues with our microphones. I'm so sorry. Adam Brown with Law Offices of Brown & Brown for Petitioner Cesar Cabrera.
Good morning. And let the record reflect that Dr. Cabrera is also present.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Ms. Jarvis, do you wish to begin with your documents?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to identify the documents behind tab 1 as Exhibit 1, which includes the jurisdictional packet, including the notice of hearing, the consent for electronic recording, the memorandum, and the underlying decision and order for the petition to revoke only. The original accusation is available on the board's website at Breeze. That's B-R-E, capital E, capital Z-E. Thank you.
Great. So those documents will be marked collectively as Exhibit 1 for identification. Mr. Brown, any objection to 1 for all purposes?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, 1 is so admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Then Exhibit 2 is the petition packet submitted by the petitioner, including 30.5 hours of continuing education certificates that were board-approved hours. There were an additional 32 hours of continuing education certificates that were not from board-approved providers. Petitioner also submitted 5 letters of recommendation, 4 of which were able to be verified, but the board was sadly informed that the 5th author has passed away from COVID-19. 3 out of the 4 that were verified were familiar with the disciplinary penalty, and all 4 support petitioner and believe that he should be given a second, which is really a 3rd chance at licensure. Thank you.
Those documents can be marked collectively as Exhibit 2. Mr. Brown, any objection to 2 for all purposes?
No, Your Honor.
2 is so admitted. Ms. Jarvis, any additional documents?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Brown, did you have any additional documents you wanted to have marked and admitted?
No, Your Honor. With the admission of the petition package, we'll submit with what's been admitted already.
Thank you. Ms. Jarvis, your summary, if you would, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. This matter arose through an accusation filed on July 23rd, 2004. That accusation resulted in a stipulated settlement for probation, effective March 5th, 2005. On March 21st, 2006, a petition to revoke probation was filed against petitioner, which resulted in a stipulated surrender of licensure, effective February 21st, 2007. The underlying facts leading to the accusation are that the petitioner was arrested for possession for sale of hydrocodone, which he admitted stealing from his employer in Long Beach, California. When petitioner was placed on probation on March 5th, 2005, he was required to complete the Pharmacist Recovery Program. Part of that program was to abstain from the use of alcohol. However, on 2 separate occasions in 2005, respondent tested positive for alcohol. He then lied to PRP, the Pharmacist Recovery Program, about the use of alcohol, and then finally admitted the use and the lie. Petitioner was also prohibited from working without a worksite monitor and was prohibited from being supervised by a family member. The board discovered that petitioner was working without a worksite monitor and that his supervisor was his wife. The board therefore suspended petitioner for 90 days. Petitioner was advised not to enter any pharmacy or practice pharmacy in any way. The board discovered that the petitioner worked 10 out of those 90 days without a valid pharmacist license. Petitioner also failed to pay the board's reimbursement costs, all of which resulted in the petition to revoke probation. I have already submitted the exhibits in this matter, and the petitioner has submitted information about his rehabilitative efforts over the past 14 years in quite extensive detail in the petition packet already, and I will leave him to address those to the board directly. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, do you have any witnesses to call other than Dr. Cabrera? Mr. Brown?
I think he's muted now.
Your Honor, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes. Oops, we can no longer hear you.
This is the moderator. Can I interject real quick? Mr. Brown, are you in the same room as your petitioner?
Yes, I am.
Okay, in that case, you probably only want to use one of your mics because it's causing some echo and feedback. So,
Are you muted? Thank you. Can you hear me now clearly or no?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I have muted mine. My client was having some trouble with his mic, and I apologize to everybody for the difficulty here. I think we're straightened out.
Do you have any witnesses other than Dr. Cabrera that you intend to call?
No, Your Honor, they are unreachable, so it will
Okay.
just be a petitioner. Thank you.
Did you wish to give an opening before you have Dr. Cabrera testify?
Yes, briefly, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, honorable board members, Dag Jarvis, we appreciate the opportunity to present Mr. Cabrera to you today as a changed and humble man from the man who presented 14 years ago. He's an open book today and stands before you as such. He's celebrating, most importantly, 11 years of sobriety, not to mention a proud history over the past 8 years since 2013, working as a counselor and or director of various alcohol and drug rehabilitation and recovery centers, which are set forth in the attached resume to the petition package, where he helps others who are struggling with addictions of all types. He is widely recognized as a very dedicated advocate and counselor to those who are struggling with the very addiction which brings him before the board today and which caused him so many difficulties so many years ago. In total, he has worked at 6 such recovery centers and continues to do so at this time. Mr. Cabrera, therefore, we believe is in a unique position to help others and has extensively shown by doing so that he is dedicated to his rehabilitation as a former or a current addict, if you will, over the past 8 years, as I mentioned previously. He knows that those who are addicted to substances are going through a very difficult personal experience, and he's passionate about helping those people. So instead of simply petitioning for reinstatement without dedicating himself to his own sobriety and that of others, he has simply done the opposite, and he is basically dedicated himself completely to being of service. He's precisely, therefore, the type of petitioner who should be reinstated, as he's demonstrated not only through his continuing education, which he has taken, but the previously mentioned counseling activities that he's dedicated to abstinence and supporting those who need him. He's one of the most intelligent, compassionate, and kind clients we have ever seen, and we believe these are qualities which will certainly serve him well if he is to be reinstated as a pharmacist. Further, he makes no excuses for his previous misconduct. He understands that his judgment was poor, and he has definitely made the changes to ensure that those actions are not repeated again. Further, we believe that all the business and professions 4309D factors will be shown through the evidence, primarily through Mr. Cabrera's testimony today, that he is a changed man and is certainly deserving of being reinstated as a pharmacist. Again, Mr. Cabrera is remorseful for his past mistakes. He understands what those were, and he makes no excuses, and he will be pleased to be an open book in testifying regarding those. He has certainly come full circle. The evidence will show that there is no public protection danger in reinstating Mr. Cabrera. In fact, his success at recovery and in helping others recover is testament to the man that he is and the pharmacist he will become if he is respectfully granted reinstatement. We respectfully ask that the board reinstate Mr. Cabrera's RPH license without delay. Thank you, Your Honor.
Great, thank you. Do you wish to call Mr. Cabrera at this time?
I would, Your Honor. I'd like him to feel free to testify on his own behalf.
All right, so Dr. Cabrera, if I could have you raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
You may put your hand down. And Mr. Brown, did you wish to ask questions or have Dr. Cabrera testify in narrative form?
I do have a few preliminary questions, if I may, Your Honor. I'd like to ask my client.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Mr. Cabrera, do you recall the events that led to the original accusation which was filed against you by the Board of Pharmacy in 2004?
Yes, Mr. Brown. I was driving and I was stopped by a police officer, and I had some hydrocodone and Norco in my possession, and at that point I was arrested, and I told the truth that I did steal the medications from the pharmacy that I was working at.
Okay, and at the time, after that arrest, were you then placed on probation for, was it 5 years by the board?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and at the time of your probation, were you counseled as to the terms of your probation and what that meant for you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, did you have a meeting with probation?
Yes.
Okay, do you recall that meeting?
It's been quite a while, so I don't recall right now.
Okay, and well, let me strike that question. And so you understood and you recall that you were placed on probation, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so a petition to revoke that probation was later filed in 2006, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall the reason for the filing of that petition to revoke?
I don't recall, no.
Okay. Were there problems that you had in complying with the pharmacist recovery program, for instance?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you recall those specific problems?
Yes.
Can you tell us about those?
At that time, I was being drug tested every every so often, and I guess a couple of the tests came back positive for alcohol. It tested for ETG, which was positive, and you mentioned that I lied to my probation officer, which I don't recall I did.
Okay, and as part of your probationary terms, you were ordered to, but you understood that you were ordered to abstain from the use of alcohol and all other mind-altering drugs, is that
yes,
correct?
Yes.
Okay, and is my understanding correct that you did not do so?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, and I understand you've had a history with alcohol and addiction to alcohol, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And as you sit here today, you have been sober for some period of time, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Do you have an actual sobriety date, so-called sobriety date?
My sobriety date is July 17, 2009.
Okay, so approximately 12 years sober.
Approximately, yes.
No relapses within that
No,
time.
no relapses.
Okay, that's what a sobriety date is, correct?
Right, correct.
Okay. You would then recall, I'm going to ask you if you recall, that a petition to revoke your probation was filed in 2006, approximately April of 2006. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and thereafter, did you enter into a stipulated surrender of your license?
Yes, so instead of accepting the revocation, I voluntarily surrendered my license.
Okay, and was that surrender, it was effective in February 21st, 2007, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And why did you choose to surrender your license, Mr. Cabrera?
I knew I was remorseful. I knew I did wrong. I relapsed and felt guilty, and I needed to to be honest to myself and to everyone else, and that's the reason why I surrendered my license voluntarily.
Okay, and since that surrender, you have not worked in a pharmacy as a unlicensed pharmacist?
No.
Okay. And is your wife a registered pharmacist in California?
Yes.
Is she currently a registered pharmacist?
Yes.
Okay. Is she currently working as a registered pharmacist?
Yes.
Okay. Is she aware of the petition you filed today that you're appearing on?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Cabrera, I understand from your resume and speaking with you extensively that you have since approximately 2013 worked in a substance abuse counselor capacity. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. I started out as a behavioral technician, working night shifts, monitoring the clients at a detox residential home while going to school in the daytime, getting my certification as a drug and alcohol counselor.
And where do you currently work, Mr. Cabrera?
At this point, I work at a company called Inspire Health Centers in Newport Beach.
Can you tell us a little bit about your job duties at your current employment?
So right now I'm the assistant clinical director, but what I do go to the houses and visit the clients, and at times when we're short-staffed, I do assessments of the intakes, get their history, biopsychosocial history, and make notes in order to, for us to submit to the insurance company to get authorization for their stay at the detox in the residential home.
Okay, and backing up a step, do you have an estimate as to how many individuals with substance abuse problems you've personally counseled or assisted in these various roles you've had?
I would say in the hundreds.
In the hundreds.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you enjoy this work?
I do enjoy this work. The reason why I enjoy it is because it keeps me grounded, and it's part of my sobriety. Keep helping people. Keeps me grounded, and really helps my sobriety.
And so that leads me to my next question. Do you credit your work as a substance abuse counselor with allowing you to continue to enjoy sobriety and stay sober?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you understand that in the event the board was to reinstate your license, it might very well entail various terms and conditions, perhaps on probation, for instance?
Yes.
Have we discussed that?
Yes.
And do you understand the magnitude of complete compliance with each and every term that might be imposed on you in that hypothetical situation?
Absolutely, yes.
As you sit here today, how do you feel the board can be assured that if probation or if a license were to be issued on you, to you rather, on reasonable probationary terms and conditions, that you would comply with each and every one of those?
I would do whatever it takes, whether it'd be getting tested, at any time, or being monitored, at all times. I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Mr. Cabrera, if you were asked to take a substance test for prohibited substances, in other words, a drug test today, a drug or alcohol screen, would you have any hesitation in doing so in the next 20 minutes?
No.
And why is that?
I'm clean.
Okay. Do you understand what the cost recovery provision of your previous probationary arrangement was?
No, I did not.
Okay. Do you understand now, as we've discussed it, that there is a requirement that you reimburse the board for costs pursuant to a stipulated settlement agreement?
Yes.
And would you comply completely with such an arrangement if one were to be reimposed upon you?
Yes.
And what has changed to make you answer that way now?
Now that I'm aware that I was supposed to do that, then I'm it's my duty to to do that.
Okay, so your intent is to comply again?
Yes.
Just to be clear, 100%?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you feel that your ability to comply completely with any reasonable terms that might be imposed on you is heightened greatly by your sobriety?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Cabrera, tell me, why are you petitioning for reinstatement of your license today? What brings you before the board today?
It's been a long time. Being a pharmacist, I know I'm in a different field, but I feel that my background in addiction studies and with the opioid crisis and all the overdoses that has resulted in in this disease. I feel that I can help with either the doctors or other treatment center owners that that may have any questions concerning detoxification and treatment.
Mr. Cabrera, if you were to be reinstated as a pharmacist, what would you do? What type of work would you undertake as such?
I would work at a pharmacy where we would service the detox homes, the residential homes, bubble packing their medications, and taking prescriptions as far as detox protocols, from the doctor as soon as they get admitted to the detox program.
So in other words, somewhat in conjunction to some degree with the rehabilitation
Correct.
center.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Would you say you have a passion for helping those in need with substance abuse problems?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Ms. Jarvis, cross-examination.
I have no questions for the petitioner. I think that Mr. Brown covered it admirably, and the board can ask questions if they have any for this petitioner.
All right. Before I go to the board, just want to check, Mr. Brown, any further questions?
No, Your Honor, not this time.
All right. So I'll check the board. Dr. Wong, any questions?
Yes, I got a couple of questions. Will you be working in the retail pharmacy again? You be your license reinstated?
It would be retail, but we would service the homes, the treatment homes, the detox residential homes, the intensive outpatient programs.
But not retail, but not right?
Not retail, no.
Okay. And second question is that since you've been out of pharmacy practice for so long, you might have required to take some kind of pharmacy exam before you could reinstate it. You understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it. That's all I have.
All right. Next, Mr. Weiss, any questions?
No questions at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Sanchez?
No questions. Just wanted to thank our participant for speaking up. I know it's hard to get before the board and give your side of the story, but it shows a lot of courage. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate the board for just giving me a chance to appear in front of you guys. Thank you.
Mr. Patel, any questions?
No further questions. I wanted to comment on the presenter that you've come a long way staying sober 11 years plus almost 12 years. It's a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Dr. O, any questions?
No further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Butler, any questions?
No, no further questions. I just also say thank you for coming before us, and 11 years is quite a long time, and that and it's been 11 years. I just want to double check. I thought I had written down 10 years sober, but it's actually 11 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you. No further questions.
Dr. Serpa, any questions?
Yes, just a couple of questions. Thank you. Mr. Cabrera, you mentioned that you are planning on practicing to serve the unique population of patients that are undergoing rehabilitation.
Yes.
I'm a little confused as to how you would do that. Where? Are you planning to maybe open a business to do that, or to be a business owner or a PIC?
Not a PIC. Possibly a business owner, but there's a couple of pharmacies in the Orange County area, since there's a lot of treatment centers in Orange County that they specialize in bubble packing medications for the person that gets into treatment. Mostly when they detox from whatever medications they're on, or whatever illicit drugs they're on, they go through a detox process, and the doctor would put them on a protocol, and we would fill those medications, bubble pack them, and then we would they would send it to the house. There's a couple of pharmacies that do that.
Mm-hmm. So initially, you're looking at existing businesses. Have you talked to them to see if they'd be willing to take on a probationer and to supervise you during the first couple of years?
Yes, I have. Yes.
And it all looks like that would work out?
That would work out, yes. I mean, with my experience, in the field of addiction and counseling, and in addition to my knowledge of the pharmacy field, I think it would be an asset for that pharmacy.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you for your courage.
Thank you.
Great. Ms. Avil, any questions?
Yes, please, a couple. So cost recovery, I couldn't even see anywhere. How much do you owe?
I believe
it's approximately 6,000.
6,000.
Can I interject, please? I received, because this was accidentally left off of the memorandum, I did check with the board staff prior to today, and the outstanding amount is currently $3,137.50.
Okay.
Thank you for that correction. Appreciate it.
Ms. Jarvis, did he pay a portion of it and then just didn't complete?
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you. Well, there you go, a little Christmas present for you, Dr. Cabrera. 3,000 less than you thought.
Thank you.
So, the board has looked at some, programs like the trying to implement like a MAT consultation program, which would include pharmacists. I'm curious what your thought is on that.
Yes, I'm familiar with the MAP program. It saves a lot of lives. What the MAP program is someone would be put on something like Suboxone or buprenorphine for a long period of time, and that would prevent them from using IV medications like heroin and now more dangerous fentanyl. The addictionologist would put them on Suboxone for a long period of time, sometimes up to 2 years. But that prevents them from using IV drugs, because it cuts their cravings for those types of illicit drugs.
And so the board's been looking at possibly having the pharmacist provide those programs, like in a collaborative practice type situation, either with a state protocol or perhaps with a physician. What's your opinion of pharmacists being able to manage a program like that?
It would be excellent. I think the pharmacists would bring a lot to the table, and with their expertise, and I think it would be beneficial.
Then I was also just flipping through a bunch of your CE, and I see that you did quite a few CEs about benzodiazepine and how to treat anxiety without them. So what's kind of your, and I'm sure you come upon this in your recovery centers too. What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, a lot of the doctors are using alternative medications such as clonidine, alpha-2 inhibitors that helps the anxiety. Sometimes they use gabapentin to counteract the anxiety. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I hate to say it, but in the field of addiction, there's a 90% chance of failure, and it's it's getting worse.
So you're saying that the failure of alternatives to benzodiazepines, they just don't work for those folks that have addictive issues?
Well, what I meant by the failure rate of in general of people that go to treatment is about 90%. Benzodiazepines is very hard to treat because you have to use another benzodiazepine to detox the client from that, and it's probably one of the drugs that can cause death if you don't detox properly from that.
Okay. Well, like the others have expressed, congratulations to your 11 years of sobriety. That's it looked like you had a couple years of tough time, and I'm glad that you saw the light here. And,
Thank you.
And you've been sober for so long and not relapsed. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Lippy, any questions?
No questions, just congratulations on your sobriety. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your Honor, this is Albert, Dr. Wong. I'd like to make one more comment.
Go ahead.
I'm very happy to see that he made good use of his past abuse experience, to counseling the current addicts. Very happy to see that. I wish him success.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Have any board members in the meantime thought of any questions?
Yeah, I have one. This is
Go ahead.
There were 30 CEs that were not accredited. Were there just CEs of information that you just wanted to have?
No. The CEs so I'm a certified drug and alcohol counselor. Part of that is doing CEs every 2 years, just like being a licensed pharmacist. So all those CEs that are not ACPE accredited are related to my certification as a drug and alcohol counselor.
Okay, all right, thank you. I commend you for that too, thank you.
Any further questions from the board? All right, hearing none. Dr. Cabrera, you are excused as a witness. And just to confirm, Mr. Brown, do you have any further evidence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Jarvis, do you wish to give a closing statement?
I do, Your Honor. This petitioner appears to have done some good hard work in recovery, but it has been 14 years since he last worked as a pharmacist. So if the board does see fit to grant this petitioner a third chance at licensure, optional probation condition number 19 really must be imposed. That would order the petitioner to take either the NAPLEX or CPJE within 1 year. Then additionally, he must pay all fees and costs, and then pay the cost recovery owed from the accusation action, which, as I previously stated, amounts to $3,137.50. Thank you.
Mr. Brown, your closing.
Thank you, Your Honor. Not much to add other than to thank Your Honor and the board and Ms. Jarvis for your time. Collectively, we are extremely proud of Mr. Cabrera's success in his recovery, his dedication to others, and we would submit that he would become a phenomenal pharmacist, given what he has been through. And we certainly appreciate all the kind comments of encouragement from the board members that we have heard today. With that, we will submit and thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so the record's closed, the matter is submitted, and we are off the record. Mr. Lippy, shall we take a break now?
Yes, it's 11:40. Why don't we take an early lunch break and return at 12:20?
Very good. And we will pick up with Daniel O's matter when we return at that time.
You broke
Thank
up,
you.
Greg. What time was that?
12:20. That gives us 40 minutes. It's now 11:40. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Great.
No
Okay.
problem. It's okay.
Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. We will return at 12:20. In the meantime, I'm going to mute everyone's mics and turn off video.